Sit up straight, eyes on me. I'm Petty Officer Sperry. I will be your lead RDC. Petty Officer 10 will be your second RDC. Petty Officer Gonzalez will be your third RDC. Together, we have 8 weeks to transform you into United States sailors.
You are no longer a civilian. Whatever you were before is now over. You are about to begin a journey that's going to make you a part of the greatest naval force the world has ever known. This training will not be easy. It wasn't meant to be. You will not be coddled nor disrespected, but you will be held to a high standard. Our job as your RDCs is to turn you into basically trained sailors. Your job as recruits is to do what you're told and give us 100% motivation.
You'll all be treated the same, no matter your sex, cultural background, religion, or sexual orientation.
There are no individuals in the military. We are many, but we operate as one unit. For this team to be successful, you have to work together. If you fail, the team fails. Get on your feet. Get up.
Let's go. Let's go.
My name is Petty Officer Sperry. I'm a recruit division commander at Recruit Training Command. All divisions start off basically the same. They're very scared. They don't know what they're supposed to expect during their 8-week training.
51. Turn your head. It's easy. Say your number.
51.
52.
53.
No. As you are.
Stop. Pay attention to what
Turn your head and say your number.
59. 60.
61. As you are.
63.
Pay
Wait
attention.
for the person in front of you to turn their freaking head so you can say your number and then you go after them. Do you understand?
I'm Chief Petty Officer Stegall. I'm a recruit division commander here at Recruit Training Command Great Lakes. Processing days, that's where you're issued all your initial issue, DITY issue. They have their basic medical indoctrination, but they get a series of shots.
So during that week, you get a lot of shots. You get kind of everything you need to continue the rest of your training. The shots were not fun.
Age averages 21. See that?
We got dental work done, which we just finished today.
It was a long process.
Everything that you do is with a purpose, and you do it to the best of your ability.
We want to give them a shock, and we let them know that, you know, you haven't even started training yet. You haven't even begun to experience exactly what we're about to subject you to.
And then you start teaching them the very basics, how to stand at attention, how to salute, how to do facing movements, left face, right face, about face.
Learning how to fold things, learning how to do things correctly.
I gave you 15 minutes to shave and brush your teeth. We are going on 25 minutes. This is unset. Let's go!
The first few days of boot camp, that's when recruits don't really know what to expect. So when you start yelling at them.
You understand?
Yes, Petty Officer.
You're here to get better, not to stand freaking lazy. You understand?
Yes, Petty Officer.
Then don't stand like that. I shouldn't be repeating myself when I already trained.
Some people really have a negative effect to that, and they don't like me and talk to you like that. And then some of them understand the process and understand that that's us being on them 100% all the time is what's going to make them a better sailor in the end.
You know, everything they do, I don't take it personal because I realize they are training me to be a sailor.
It's a lot of tough love, and it's like I know that they want us to succeed again. I know that they want us to do well. You know, they've all been through this themselves. They have gone through a lot of training themselves to be RDCs. So trying to just remember that and give them that equal amount of respect really helps me get through it.
They've been good. Like they only really again, if you're doing the right thing, they're not going to be yelling at you.
55, 56, 57, 58, 59.
Then why are you here?
62.
You're 2-3-0. Get across the freaking hall.
68, 69.
We have to yell at them a lot and get them to understand that we need them not just to react to what we're saying, but to react fast.
We're going to make it uncomfortable for them. We're going to make it so that they are able to, one, have confidence in themselves and their abilities, but also be able to deal with the stress. And so that's why we create a stressful environment. That's why we keep the temp up.
What did your RDCs tell you about failure? If you fail, who fails? The whole team.
Your initial PFA is tomorrow. You need to understand that if you fail, you will get set back.
So tomorrow's going to be a reality check for the recruits. It's going to be their baseline PFA, where they're going to be required to run 1.5 miles, do a number amount of sit-ups and push-ups. Some won't make it, so someone's going to go home.
I wanted to pass out and just die. Like, give me a gallon of water, let me drink it. So we were all really stressed about who was going to pass and who wasn't going to pass.
Let's go, Jones. Let's go. Get up there. Come on. Don't think about it. Let's go. Come on. 5 more. 5 more. Give me 5 more.
I happily that I was able to pass it. I'm glad. So hopefully I can pass the next one with a better score. With the PFA, I knew I was ready. I was ready for it before coming to boot camp, but the day before I got really, really sick. Still, I felt sick during the PFA, but I just pushed because I didn't want to get separated.
And so that PFA baseline is just that, it's the baseline. It's not even the actual PFA standard. And if they can't meet the baseline, then they probably need to go find something else to do.
I don't give a crap if you're tired, if you think the sea bag's too heavy. You came here to serve, so own up and do it.
Week 1 of actual boot camp, they can expect to be staying up late, long hours, working at a fast pace. They're going to be expected to pass their swim qualification. They're going to be expected to march as a unit. And those are all things that we're training them from the beginning in P-Days. They're going to have to bring it together week 1 and make sure they're performing all those tasks. So in P-Days, we are loud and we are aggressive with them, but we are instructors at first. We're teaching them everything, and we take our time, because come week 1, then it's not, we don't have time to train every little thing over and over again. They need to learn it. So when we're telling them at first they need to pick stuff up and this is how it has to be done, come week 1, we expect that to happen. So when they start failing during week 1, then they're actually held accountable for their actions.
Anything that you were before you came here, you wave goodbye to that. That's gone. Because as long as people in this world want to take your life because of where you live, because of where you breathe, you must be ready. And if you're not ready, we don't need you.
I heard people say that Marines came here to die. didn't like that. And so I set out to prove them wrong.
This is an aspect of the Marine Corps that a lot of Marines don't know about, and a lot of the public definitely don't know about.
From a performance standpoint, the Marines, from the very beginning, have to understand the psychology of the horse and the characteristics of the prey animal. We have to understand them in their natural state, physically and mentally, to be able to communicate with them. Then I began to teach them how to literally communicate physically, verbally, and mentally with the horse. When Sergeant Jay was working with Martini, he's using his body language, and he physically said walk, and then he also verbally said walk, and the horse slowed down to a walk. So she's actually, and she looked at him to listen to him. So he has built a rapport with that horse to where it understands his body language and his verbal communication. They see the rewards that pay off for the long run, and they stick with it. So I'm proud of the way that they choose to think. As for me, I think that would be the most important factor. I'm not worried about whether they come home with the blue ribbon. What I like to say to myself, and I say it to them, I say I'd like to see people give you a standing ovation because you have emotionally moved them with your performance. That'll beat the blue ribbon every day for me.
Depending on which horse you're on, it's always starting at square one. You try to build on your past accomplishments on the horse, so if you're able to do a certain move on the horse, you start there and then you try to make it a little bit more complex. You never know if it's going to work or not because horses have their own personalities. So if you can capitalize on the previous day's work and accomplishments, great. If not, and you have to back up and start over again to remind them this is what we accomplished already, and then build on that, you do so. But it's always an adventure because you never know exactly what you're going to get from the horse.
Well, the horses will reveal what type of ethic that person has. They just don't lie. And I can see that as the Marine works with the horse and the horse performs with the Marine, and I believe it affects their life. I believe, however deeply or far that the Marine allows the horse to help him, that's how far it'll go.
.24% of the Earth's surface is covered by mountains. If you look at all of our operations and our conflicts that we've been in, there's always been arduous terrain at some point for operational sets. By using these animals and teaching this skill set, our students are able to learn something that they can take in where they could acquire it in country if need be. They could use it for an evasion platform if they were compromised. Skills that we teach here off of our animals they can use anywhere in the world.
Strategic bombers have the ability to carry almost any weapon the Air Force has to offer. In the past, they've been used to absolutely devastate targets. They still have that ability, but with the way modern combat has evolved, precision is the name of the game. With the destruction these aircraft can bring to bear, just the mere presence of them is enough to change the enemy's mind.
Bombers represent our ability to rapidly project power from CONUS, from the United States. It is one of our most flexible and visible power projection tools that the President has at his fingertips, and it gives him options. Bombers represent our ability to project power which other countries on the planet don't have.
Our enemies know that we have that capability with a low observable bomber to just show up at any point over their airspace and hold their targets at risk. So to actually know that one showed up for whatever the case may be really sends a message from the U.S. saying that we're not playing around. Something needs to change, or you need to do something differently, or we're going to show up with this asset. You're not going to know when, and it's not going to be good.
Bombers have massive payload carriage capability as well as a combat range that exceeds any fighter out there, which allows them to be that intercontinental power projection tool. When we move a fighter squadron, it's a big deal, but it's a regional kind of threat. When a bomber moves, the enemy watches. The enemy keeps track, and the adversary keeps track of all our bomber movements. So it is a tool to message for both the combatant commanders and the President.
The U.S. has 3 strategic bombers, the B-1, B-2, and B-52. They all have unique capabilities that they bring to the fight, but when you need to deliver ordnance without the enemy ever knowing that you were there, that's where the B-2 shines.
Well, the B-2 offers us that flexible option in a world where our enemies are continually developing new and better air defense systems. And with those systems, it basically keeps our older systems and more legacy aircraft at bay. We still need that ability to fly in and hold their targets of value at risk in a highly denied area, and that's what the B-2 provides with its low observability capabilities.
As if being the world's only stealth bomber wasn't unique enough, fewer than 1,000 airmen have ever flown in one.
Everybody that gets to fly in the B-2 is provided a Spirit number via Northrop Grumman. So from the very first pilot to our later guys that came after me, you have a number saying, hey, in my case, I was the 602nd person to fly in the B-2. So it just kind of puts in perspective how few people total over the lifespan of this aircraft who've actually gotten to fly the aircraft.
While most of our bombers were designed with nuclear deterrence in mind, and that role is still very prevalent, their ability to carry massive payloads and deliver precision strike is being used around the world to support our combatant commanders and our allies with close air support.
In the current conflict, the B-1 brings a phenomenal conventional capability. We can employ guided weapons of various types. We do have a lot of experience integrating with other platforms, fighters, ISR, any other type of platform essentially that are vital to the strategic messaging that our combatant commanders are trying to articulate.
Well, it's scary. This jet can go supersonic, which means it can get there in a matter of an hour or two, as opposed to a B-52, which sometimes it could take as much as an entire day to get where it's going.
Of the 3 bombers, the B-52 is the oldest, but there's a reason it's still around. It's proven to be one of the most reliable jets in the U.S. inventory. So reliable, in fact, that some have been pulled out of the boneyard to be put back into service.
It's pretty cool. When we do stuff like that, we have to pull it out, we'll fly it here or to tinker, do all the upgrades that have been done to the jet that hadn't been upgraded on that jet.
The reason we've pulled an almost 70-year-old bomber out of the boneyard is because of its ability to carry a massive payload of 70,000 pounds. To put that into perspective, the B-17s of World War II typically only carried 4,000 pounds. The B-52 can carry an array of munitions, including nuclear weapons.
50 years, you still have a B-52 because it's still a very viable platform. With that payload carriage, we can load anything on a B-52, pretty much, but it can also drive a long time before it needs another tank of gas. So it carries it, it drops the load off, and it comes back.
By the time all 3 bombing platforms are slated to retire, they'll be over 50 years old. To keep them capable, modernization becomes a top priority.
Every platform basically has modernization going on with it. The timelines established with those are either starting now and go through 2030s. Some are shorter, but they all are based on what the asset they're replacing needs to be done.
To keep it lethal, the bomber itself is the platform, but the defensive systems, the offensive systems are, our bomb computers, the weapons themselves. We want to keep improving that capability so we're more lethal at all times. As long as we're a superpower, we're going to have bombers because it's our ability to project power, pure and simple.